Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cary Gans. If you can hear me, please type in the chat box that you can hear me and that you can see my screen. If you can hear me and you can see my screen, I appreciate it. Just type in the chat box. It's on the right-hand side of your screen. And just type in, I can hear you and I can see the screen. Can you hear me and can you see the screen? We haven't really started yet. It should be starting in a minute. Terrific. That's John. Where are you from? We're just going to sit and give everybody a chance to get on. We should have a bunch of people joining us. We're broadcasting live, but we're just going to sit and get people normally straggle in. So we're going to wait another 5 minutes or so just to make sure that anybody that wants to listen can be here. But I appreciate you showing up and you're being here, and I promise to make it worth your while. You're from Chicago, terrific. Just there at the Chicago Midwinter meeting in February. Very cold, very windy, but I'm sure the weather's terrific right now. We're just going to wait another couple of minutes. Did you have any trouble? This is a new format that we're using. Did you have any trouble, Jung, logging in and getting onto the broadcast? That's good. Glad it was easy. This is we usually use GoToWebinar, but decided to try this new format and see how it works. So we'll get once again a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. And anybody else shows up, they'll miss the words of wisdom in the beginning. I like to wait until usually give them 5 minutes because everybody tends to get to the computer, have to figure out how to do it. Well, what kind of dentist are you? General dentist, prosthodontist, endodontist. Are you a dentist? General practitioner, terrific. I happen to be a prosthodontist, but basically practice general dentistry. I just don't do a lot of the things that other people do. Another 2 minutes and we'll get started. Another 60 seconds, and we will get started. Okay. Welcome, Andrew. I see that we have Andrew on board with us now. And more people are coming on as we guys did. Another 30 seconds, and we will get started. And what we're going to talk about tonight, I've been doing this a long time. I've been a dentist for, unfortunately, I hate to tell you, maybe almost 40 years. And I've learned a lot during those 40 years, and I thought I would pass it on to you tonight and hopefully help increase not only your production, but your income. So that we're going to go over some of the 5 rules to increase production and income using dental technology. So that's the purpose of tonight. And I think we'll get started. So let's just bring this down to, I think I just messed that up. There we go. Now we just went to full screen for some reason. All right, I hope you guys can see it. Just give me a second here. I'll go back to actual size. Okay. So now, if you like, put down your pencils and get yourself a piece of paper and pencil, and put down your phone and get a cup of coffee if you want. And we're going to go ahead and start in maybe 30 seconds. So I'll give you a chance to close the door. And I'm hoping to give you enough information today that when you go into your office tomorrow, that you'll change just a little bit, and things will change for you for the better. So let's go ahead and start. Just an idea of who I am, so you know who's talking to you tonight, because I appreciate the fact that you're spending your time with me, and I want to at least give you an idea of what my background is. I am the Chief Technology Officer over here at Odin Technologies. We're a technology company located here in New York. I also happen to be a practicing prosthodontist in Garden City, New York. I've been in practice, as I said, for a lot of years. I was also the past owner, founder, and VP of Clinical Affairs at Dexis Digital Radiography. I started that company in my office about, 12, 15 years ago. I was the first user, one of the partners in the company, and was with that company for a number of years. No longer with them right now. I was also the past Clinical Vice President of Planet DDS. They're the manufacturer of a web-based practice management and imaging system called Denticon. I work with a number of different companies, everything from laser companies to product companies. I've consulted with web-based companies, dental suppliers, and the like. I've written a book called I Love My Dentist, which if anybody wants, I'll be happy to send you a free PDF of it. I've lectured throughout the United States in most dental meetings. I've lectured overseas. And more importantly, I'm the father of 4 great kids and the grandfather of 6. So once again, the purpose of tonight is to discuss the 5 rules. Because right now, every single dentist in the country has got a fortune of money wasted in their closet. Things they've bought, things they've purchased, things they thought they needed, and they just end up throwing that money away because they either don't use it or don't use it properly. So today we're going to talk about the first rule, which is to spend wisely. That there's really no need to purchase costly equipment anymore. Price shop, but don't sacrifice quality when you do it. Right now, most of the technologies we're using today are sold by various vendors, and there's no reason to spend fortunes of money to get a good product anymore. It's very similar, as I'll say later on, to calculators, which used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and now you can find one in a Wheaties box for free. And we're going to go into these in greater detail. The next rule is use often. That is, I think, singularly the biggest problem with technology today. It's the fact that we buy the technology, we get all excited about it for a couple of hours or a day or two, and then it just doesn't get used anymore. This goes specifically for such items as intraoral cameras. I can't tell you how many dentists buy an intraoral camera, hook it up, get it all up and running, and then either their hygienist doesn't use it, they don't use it, and I will bet you that most intraoral cameras today are just gathering dust in the corner of an operatory. And yet an intraoral camera is an absolute moneymaker. They will go ahead and make you more money probably than any other technology around. So one of the rules is use often. Third rule is buy what you need. Now, once again, there's lots of technology out there, and none of us have money to throw away. So you always want to buy whatever you think is appropriate, what you think you need. Now, don't buy emotionally. You want to buy with real data behind it. What is it that you do? An example that I use, and I used to own a dental microscope, and as a prosthodontist, I had absolutely no use for it whatsoever, because as the patient would move their head, I'd have to refocus it, etc. So a microscope might work for the endodontist, but it may not work for the general practitioner. So you only buy what you need to buy. You don't buy emotionally because it looks cool, because it has some marketing ability and things of that nature. Training, training, and more training. You've got to be the best at whatever that technology is. And I don't care what the technology is you're using, but you want to make sure whatever that technology is, that you go ahead and become the best at it. Now, I'm going to leave the chat box on. Looks like yeah, are you back? Let me see. Andrew, I see you said it looks like I lost you. Are you guys back? Am I talking to dead air? Can you hear me? Just type in the checkbox if you guys can hear me. Just to make, yes, okay, Andrew, you back? Okay, great. All right, so training, and more training. We're going to go into that a little bit. And this works for almost every technology. One of the best examples I can give you is the intraoral scanners like CEREC. That if you really want to become proficient at it, you've got to spend the time to learn it. And I think one of the big problems is we buy these things and think that they're going to be, walk into the office and we'll start using them right away and become experts, and realize that that's just not true. The reality is that it takes time and effort to learn and time and effort to become an expert. No different than what we had to do to become a dentist. And finally, stay updated. Technology changes all the time. It's one of the things that it's a constant with technology. So you need to stay updated with the latest in that particular technology, but don't stay updated just for the sake of staying updated. By that I mean, if what you're using now fulfills your needs, do you really need to buy the upgrade? And you may not. You really may not. Sometimes buying the upgrade is more difficult. Just look at Windows. I mean, most of us started with XP and then we went to Vista and whatever. And some people went and jumped into Windows 10 before it was ready and had nothing but trouble. So you want to make sure that if you don't need the update, don't take it. And we're going to hopefully get you to follow some of these rules. So rule 1, spend wisely. What do I mean by that? Well, right now, there's really no reason to spend more for the same thing. Years ago, you had to do that. Years ago, when technology first came out, it was more expensive. It was more difficult to use. It was a totally different ballgame. Now, years ago, if you went to buy a digital X-ray system, it could cost upwards of $13,000. Well, that's just not true anymore. You don't need to spend that kind of money. Another example is intraoral cameras. When I bought my first intraoral camera, this goes back many years ago, it cost me almost $8,000. Now, do you really need an $8,000 intraoral camera? My suggestion is that you really don't. And that for most dentists, a $300, $400, $500 intraoral camera will more than suffice. Same thing goes for digital radiography. When the market was small, the prices were high. Companies needed to get back for their R&D, etc. But that's not true anymore. Most of these companies have been paid back. The price of these technologies have come way down, just like computers and calculators, etc. So there's really no reason to go ahead now and spend $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 for digital X-ray. Now we're going to talk about digital X-ray today, but this applies to intraoral cameras, applies to scanners, applies to just about every technology you can think of. Whoop, went too fast on that one. Let's go back. So the landscape has changed. You no longer have to spend more and get less. And that's if you just walk away today with that one thought in mind. Now, I don't know if you guys on the call tonight are technology people, if you've gotten into digital radiography, intraoral cameras, if you've gotten into scanners, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know that. But the one thing I do know is that the landscape for all of those technologies is rapidly changing. And you don't have to spend big dollars anymore to go ahead and take the benefit and apply it to your practice. Another great example is lasers. I bought my first laser for $100,000. Now you can buy a laser for $5,000 and probably get the same function out of it. You know, the less expensive diode lasers today will pretty much do the same treatment modalities and allow you to do the same thing as the $100,000 CO2 or the $100,000 neodymium YAG, etc. So you really don't have to go ahead and spend the dollars for no reason. Now, for those of you on the call tonight that are still using film, can you put in the checkbox if you use digital X-ray or if you use film? So I'll just know how many of you are using digital X-ray and how many are using film. And for those of you that are still using film, I'm waiting for your response. It takes a couple of seconds here. With this format, you're about 30 seconds or so behind me. So it'll take a little while for this to register. But just let me know whether you're using digital X-ray or whether you're using film. And while I'm waiting, if you are using film, I'd like to show you some numbers. All right, Andrew's digital, that's great. So if you're still using film, for those of you that are, the average cost to capture, develop, and fix one X-ray on film is 50 cents. So it's 50 cents per film. The average number of X-rays taken by an average dentist, and none of us are average, is $800 per month, is 800 films per month. So if you're taking 800 pictures, and that includes your endo films, your retakes, it includes emergencies, it includes everything. So if you're capturing 800 a month and you're spending 50 cents on each, the math is real simple. You're spending roughly $400 every single month in order to capture X-rays. That goes on for the rest of your life. So $400 a month, $4,800 a year. You practice 40 years. I'm not even going to try to do the math, but you're looking at $150, $160, $200,000 just for the privilege of taking film. In less than 1 year, you can own a digital X-ray system and then make almost no payments at all. So it costs you a couple of dollars every year, maybe for a guarantee or a warranty. But for the most part, your expenses stop after the first year because you can now buy a digital X-ray system for that same $4,800, even less, and use the extra money for office improvements or maybe even take a vacation. Wouldn't that be cool? So for those of you that are using film, I see that Jung is and others. The reality is that it's not cost effective anymore to use film. Now, if you're using digital X-rays, if you're an endodontist or you're doing implants, crown and bridge, digital X-rays are incredible time savers. If nothing else, the fact that if you have to take them to a retake, if you've got to take a second image, or if you're checking the margins on a crown and you cone cut or something, there's no question that digital X-rays are not only equally as good as far as resolution, but they're far greater efficiency-wise. So that if you're in an office and you're a busy guy or a busy lady, as the case may be, and you're running from room to room taking X-rays, and you don't have to wait for that image to be developed and fixed, and you don't have to wait to go ahead and have it mounted or whatever, there's no question that digital X-rays are far more efficient and far more effective than film. So instead of paying thousands for additional replacement of backup sensors, you can now spend 50% less and get the same results. What does that mean? Well, if you have one sensor in your office, for argument's sake, and you have 4 treatment rooms, and you've got to go ahead and take X-rays, is it really efficient to go ahead and wait for that X-ray, that sensor to be brought into one room while you wait? Or if someone else is using that sensor, your hygienist or whatever, and you now need to take an X-ray, is it efficient and effective to go ahead and wait for that sensor to be brought into your room? I believe the answer is no. Now, it used to be that if you had to spend $13,000 for a second sensor, well, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. And when I was with Dexis, we used to sell sensors at $13,000, and we'd sell in office 3, 4, 5 of them or whatever. Well, today you can get that same sensor for 50% off. And now it's become cost effective to keep one in each room. Now, also, what happens if that sensor that if you only have one sensor and that sensor, for whatever reason dies, someone rolled a card over it or gets lost or the cable gets bent or whatever, you really need to have a backup. You need to have a sensor so that if something happens to your main sensor, that you have something else that'll work equally as well. And do you really need to spend the same amount of money for that backup or replacement sensor? If your sensor dies totally and now has to be repaired, would it be nice to have a backup? So in either case, digital X-rays are more effective and efficient. You take less retakes, less wasted operative time, and today, at much less cost, you can now have a backup on the replacement sensor, so you never worry about being without the ability to take an X-ray. Now, rule 2, I put this picture up because when I used to talk about digital X-rays years ago, I talked about what does a dentist do when he captures an image? So you take an X-ray on film, and your dental assistant goes ahead and develops it, fixes it, dries it, whatever, brings it back in. What's the first thing we as dentists always did? We'd grab it just like you see here, and we'd hold it up to the light. And that's how we'd look at it. Well, you don't have to do that anymore because with digital, it's up on the screen in seconds. So for film users, when first starting out, you need to make sure that you start using your new sensor and technology immediately and don't give up. It's not film. So when you go ahead and start, if you decide, as an example, Jung, I see you use film. When you decide to go digital, it's not film, and it looks different, it feels different, and you just got to push ahead. You've got to use it all the time. You can't revert back to what you had before, and you've got to go ahead and push through the new technology and don't give up, because that's one of the things that we find with new technologies is that people get a little frustrated and they stop. Perfect example is my 13-year-old son. We went out and bought him a bow tie because he wanted to wear a bow tie. And well, it's a new technology for him. It's not a clip-on or a snap-on. It was a real tie-your-own bow tie. And we went on YouTube and we found out how to do it. We started working with it. And after about an hour of trying, he gave up. He couldn't do it. He just got frustrated. And he ended up not wearing it. Now, I, being the obsessive compulsive, went ahead and took that same bow tie, watched the YouTube video, and made sure that after a half hour, 45, I learned how to do it. I didn't give up. Now, it doesn't make me better than my son because he's a lot smarter than I am. But at the end of the day, I now know how to make a bow tie, and he doesn't. So the same thing applies with technology. You've got to go ahead and use it all the time. Don't revert back to film because that'll just get you into bad habits. Now, if you look at this film, I just noticed it. If you look at this film, it's even cone cut. I just happened to take this picture, but it's cone cut. With digital X-rays, if you find that, well, you can go right back and take another one and not miss the information that you may have been trying to capture. And once again, there's always a learning curve. If you're now using film, this is not film. So you've got to be aware of the fact that this is not film. Now, if you're using digital X-rays, you need to keep your sensor conveniently located. One of the problems, as I said before, is the old story of, hey, Mary, can you get me the sensor? So Mary now leaves the treatment room. Mary's your dental assistant. She gets up, leaves the room, goes to find the sensor, finds it, comes in, hooks it up, gets it, loads the software, and now you're ready to take the X-ray. In that period of time, the patient's frustrated, you're frustrated, you've wasted time, and time is money. So at the end of the day, does it really make sense to have one sensor? And many offices do. We used to, when I was in Texas, we used to sell sensors, and a lot of offices bought one sensor. Well, do you really want to do that? Is that appropriate? And is it now, since the prices have come so far down, does it make more sense to always have a replacement or a backup sensor? Rule number 3, buy only what you need. The joke says it was one of the toughest divorce settlements he'd ever had. And when you look at it, he lost an arm and a leg. So you don't need to pay an arm and a leg anymore, and you don't need to buy stuff that's unnecessary. Dentists, after 40 years of being a dentist, of selling to dentists, of owning several dental companies, I can tell you one of two things. Dentists tend to buy either too much or they buy too little. I've seen it time and time again. And it's for a variety of reasons. It's the fear of jumping in. It's the fear of spending too much money. Will it work? Won't it work? Will my staff like it? Will they use it? And we all tend to buy either too much and it sits in a closet, or we buy too little and we don't get the benefit from it. So what I'm suggesting right now, rule number 3, is investigate your needs. What is it that you need? and only then decide what to purchase based upon the data, not emotions. If you go to a dental convention and you see this terrific whiz-bang laser that does all kinds of crazy stuff, and then you say, oh, I gotta have that. But then you go back to your office the next day and you realize that that laser, what is it gonna do? How many frenectomies are you really going to do? And how many aphthous ulcers in your practice are you going to be able to help the patient with? And are you going to feel comfortable troughing with a laser? And if you do, how many crowns a month do you do? And at the end of the day, will that laser, as an example, benefit your practice? Or is it just something you're doing because it looks real cool? Now, don't get me wrong. I also have hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment in my closet. And I'll tell you a 2-second story. We recently moved our offices, and I went ahead, and after a while, I was looking somewhere online or whatever it was, and I saw a video on the Diagnodent. Now, I'm not here to sell Diagnodents, but we looked at a video on Diagnodent, and I said, we really should do that. And for some reason, in the back of my head, I knew we had looked at it once before, and the video said, well, why don't you just go buy one on eBay? You can get a used one. You don't have to buy a new one. I went on eBay, and there were X number of dollars. I was going to do it, and I mentioned it to my chief dental assistant, and we were talking, and then all of a sudden, he comes out of the closet, my supply closet, with a Diagnodent. I had bought one a couple of years ago. I forgot that I even owned it. We probably used it for a couple of days a week, and the hygienist, for whatever reason, didn't want to do it. I didn't push it. I didn't follow my own rules, which, once again, this is a long time ago. And it sat there gathering dust. Now, we use it now, and it's a great tool. So you don't want to buy emotionally, and you don't want this material ending up in your closet. So the question is, how often do you need the technology? Digital x-rays you're going to use every day of your life. There's not a single dental office in this country that doesn't take x-rays all day long. And for all the other reasons, by the way, that you really need to be digital. So for those of you on the call that are not digital, you really need to be. Digital x-rays are here. They're no longer just some new technology that maybe works, maybe doesn't. No, they work. I've been digital now for 12 years. I haven't taken a piece of film in 12 years. At the end of the day, I don't have to go looking at the bottom of my chart for x-rays that have fallen out of them out. I don't have to worry whether they were fixed enough and they're going to last. Every one of us has found 2 x-rays married to one another in a chart where you now try to separate them and you've lost all the imaging. I don't worry about losing x-rays because it's all backed up. I don't worry about if it's a bad x-ray, I can take it right away. I take another one immediately. If I need to, I don't have to copy it or try to scan it in. I can send it digitally over to my oral surgeon or my endodontist or whatever. So there are tons of reasons why today digital x-ray is something that it's one of the few technologies that intraoral cameras I think should be in every single dental office in the country. And there's some others as well, which we're going to talk about over the coming weeks and months, about other technologies that I think are absolutely critical for the dental practice. But just to simplify it today, I'm talking digital x-rays. But there are many others that I think every dental practice needs, and they make you money. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. Digital x-rays make you money because it saves you money. That's the realities of it. It's saving you money every single day. Once you get a digital x-ray sensor in your office, you start saving money. You also become more efficient, which makes you more money. So digital x-rays are here to save. But once again, just buy only what you need. Don't buy stuff that you don't need. And the other question you have to ask yourself, beside how often do you need it, how often do you sit and wait for it? So if you're in an office and you only have one sensor and you have a hygienist and maybe an associate, or maybe you're the associate and there's another dentist in the office and he's using the sensor and now you've got to sit and wait because you're doing endo and you got to take a measurement film and now the dentist is using it, now you got to wait. Is that really cost effective? Is that efficient? Or would it make more sense to have an additional sensor in the office to go ahead and do it? Now, if you're a single practitioner and you're in one room and you don't have a hygienist and you don't plan on ever doing that, then maybe one sensor is fine. So it's really how long do you need to wait and how often do you use it? Next question you have to ask yourself is what will happen if that technology breaks down? Okay, now if an intraoral camera breaks down, it's not the end of the world. You could go get it fixed, go buy a new one, whatever. It's not something that's paramount to your practice. It's not something critical. However, if you only have one sensor and you do not have tanks or film, which once you become digital, we all tend to get rid of them. I don't have tanks in my office. If your sensor goes down or breaks or someone steps on it or whatever, what are you going to do? You can't go ahead and be without it. So once again, you buy only what you need, but don't leave yourself short. Don't buy too little. And at the end of the day, if that sensor goes down, or if let's assume you have a CEREC unit and you have patients coming in to do one visit crowns and the CEREC unit goes down. Now you're not going to have 2 CEREC units, but you better have a backup. You better be able to take an impression. And I now it's use that as an analogy, and the same thing applies with digital radiography. Is that if indeed your sensor goes down, you better have another one because you can't practice without X-rays. Rule number 4. By the way, if you have any questions, you're welcome to put it into the chat box. I'll be happy to answer them either now or at the end. Okay, so training. This is probably very boring, but if you're not a digital X-ray user, as an example, and you bring it into the office, your staff is going to be hesitant to use it. They're going to be afraid of it. They're going to be afraid of the way it feels. They're going to complain about it. They're going to say it doesn't work as easily as film, etc., because that's not what they're used to. And we found this all the time. Now, the weaker dentist out there will allow the staff to dictate. And I would tell you that that's an error. And it's not, and once again, nothing to the staff. Staff doesn't want to add more difficulty to their day. They want to make their day as easy as they can. Plus, they want to make sure that your day goes easy. So if there's going to be problems with that new technology, they don't want to hear it. So they need to be trained. So whatever you're going to do, whatever technology you're going to introduce yourself to, or whatever you currently have in your office, you need to go ahead and make sure that your staff and yourself are well trained. That's the only way that new technology will become successful, not only short term, but long term. And if the technology changes, you've got to update. And one of the prime examples there is CEREC. I used CEREC 10 years ago. Stopped using it. I'm not going to go into the reasons for it, but I stopped using it. Now, just recently, we decided to get back into it. And now I have to get retrained on everything because the technology has changed. They've updated the software. They've updated the machinery. I now have to become trained, and I've got to train my staff. And if you want to be successful in using technology, you've got to be willing to take the time and provide and have the energy to be retrained. And if you hire new staff, the same thing applies. That you can't assume they know it. You've got to retrain them, and that's real important because if staff is having issues, if they're complaining, it's all about the training. It's not it's never the technology. It's always their inability to understand it or work with it. So you need to go ahead and you need to train them. Rule 5, update when appropriate. Technology changes all the time. And if you don't stay up with it, you're going to lose. And it's not only the technology, it's the utilization of it. There are things we did with intraoral cameras years ago that were different than what we do today. We use it in a different way. There are new technologies out there that are changing, and you've got to stay up with that. Update only when necessary, but not when unnecessary. You don't need to buy a new intraoral camera just because it now has a 10-time zoom and yours only has a 5-time. Or you have a camera that's 1.3 megapixels and now they have 6 megapixels, and wow, I need that new camera. Just not true. There is no need for all these high-resolution, high-definition intraoral cameras to show a patient a cracked tooth or to show a patient some plaque on the inside of lower incisors. Just not necessary. So you do not need to go ahead and update all the time, but there are times that you do. Just because it has some cool bells and whistles doesn't mean you need it. Once again, using an intraoral camera, just because you can go ahead and change the colors of it doesn't mean that you need a new camera. Just because it's got different buttons, as long as it's taking a picture and you can show it to your patient, pretty much you're okay. And the same thing goes with software. Same thing goes with just about everything else. Now, if the update will increase efficiency, effectiveness, and income potential, then certainly update. If something's going to make you faster, more effective, and you can make more money at it, then go ahead and do it. That's why I'm getting involved with CEREC again, because they've made the software better, the cameras are all better, you don't need the powder, the imaging is better, the accuracy is better, etc. So we're going to start doing it because it makes sense now to do it. Okay, I promised that we're going to give away something today, and I want to do that now. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to ask you a question. What we're going to do is give away one of our ODCure curing lights. This, once again, not dissimilar to intraoral cameras and not dissimilar to X-ray. To cure resins, to cure any kind of composite veneers and stuff, you really don't need to spend thousands of dollars for a curing light. I mean, that's crazy. So one of you on the call today is going to win an OD Cure curing light. And this is some basic information. We sell it now for $395, but we're going to go ahead and give one away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question, and in the chat box, the first person to put the answer into the question is going to win the OD Cure. Real simple. So if everybody's ready, just let me know if you're ready to go ahead and answer the question. Just put yes into the box if you're ready to answer the question. Okay, come on, you got to type yes so I know you're listening. Okay, so the question is, I was the founder, owner, and vice president of what company? And I was the founder, owner, and vice president of what company? Whoever puts it into the box first will own and get a brand new OD Cure curing light. So I need you guys to go ahead and put in the answer. Anybody know the answer? I've said it several times. I'll give you a hint in a minute. Just want to give whoever gets it. There is a little bit of a lag on this, so I want to wait a second. No, that's not the answer, John. I'll give you a hint. It was a digital x-ray company that I started. I was a founder and an owner. Anybody know the answer? All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you well, you're close. John, I'm going to give that to you because you're the first one to come. You're close. It was Dexis with a D-E-X-I-S, but you're right. So if you'll, I believe I have your information, John. If I don't, I'm going to give you an email address. If you'll email me where you'd like me to send it, we'll be happy to send it to you. You can email it to Odin, O-D-I-N, 2279 @gmail.com. I'll put it in the box. OdinTech2279 @gmail.com. So if you'll send me your office address where you'd like it sent, you are the winner. So I will send you off an OD Cure curing light. Enjoy it, use it, and if you'd like, let me know what you think about it. I'd appreciate that too. Okay, just let me know, John, that you got the information and you know what to do. You got it. My pleasure. Okay, so we'll go on to continue. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Odin sells an X-ray system called ODRay. If you're a new digital X-ray user, if you need a backup sensor, if you're ready to purchase a replacement sensor, if you're tired of paying for high-cost software and hardware, now is the time to make a change. So we're offering for the first 10 participants, you can save thousands of dollars on a high resolution, 25 line pairs, theoretical 20 line pairs measured. It uses a high resolution CMOS sensor. It's only 5.3 millimeters thin. It's waterproof, dustproof. The case is sealed. Shock resistant sealed case. We've got a securely attached cable. You get a free Twain driver with the sensor. And we've got the best warranty in the marketplace. So if you're ready now, if you're either a new X-ray, digital X-ray user, and you're looking to get involved, or if you currently are a digital X-ray user and you're looking to get a replacement or a backup sensor, this is a great time to do it. So if you click on the pop-up that came up, the offer, it'll just take you to a place where you can learn more about our sensor and what it can do for you in your practice. So today you can save $1,000 on the size 1 and you can save $2,000 on a size 2 sensor. That's right, you can save $1,000 on a size 1, and you can save $2,000 on a size 2 sensor. But this is not going to last forever. So I just want you guys to know that if you're interested, the first 10 people that get online and order today will get this kind of savings. Now, the good news is that even with that, you have nothing to lose. So, because we've got you covered. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You have a 7-day money-back guarantee. So if you do decide to buy a sensor, you have 7 days to use it. That's after it's installed, and the installation is free. So we will install the sensor for you. We will get you up and running, get you whatever you need to, to get yourself taking digital x-rays, and you have 7 days to use it. If you're not happy with it for any reason whatsoever, all you have to do is call us, send it back, just don't break it, and we will refund your money. You also get a 2-year warranty on the product, and if you want, you can actually purchase for a very nominal amount of money OD Care, which is our overnight delivery and our overnight guarantee. That means that if you have our sensor, something happens to it, all you do is call us, we will ship you one overnight, you ship the old one back, so you are never without your sensor. So we've got you covered. We have a 7-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose. Get the sensor, try it. And Jung, I see you're one of the few online today that doesn't use digital. So if you're thinking about it, this is a great time to do it. You can save $2,000 on a number 2 sensor, a 7-day money-back guarantee. Oh, someone's calling me. That's none of you guys. That's just I'm in my home, so that's my home phone. So you have the opportunity to go ahead and get involved in digital x-ray at no risk whatsoever. Okay? So any questions on any of that? The webinar will be over in just a couple of minutes. So it is actually over. If you have any questions whatsoever, that's our website, and that's our office phone number. So if you'd like to participate, if you're looking to buy a sensor, if you're looking to get involved with digital x-ray, if you're looking to go ahead and get a backup or a replacement system, and if you're willing to go ahead and put the effort in, then this is a great product for you. You don't have to spend $9,000, $10,000, $13,000 anymore for digital x-ray. It's just not necessary. Nike, I'm glad you're back. I saw that you left, but I'm glad you came back. And I was saying that once I'll put the offer up, but we do have a great offer on our sensors. We just do this on webinars. We're just starting out the webinars, so I figured it's a good thing to do. So if you're interested, are you digital? I think it's pronounced Nike, like the shoe. Are you using digital x-rays now, or are you using film? I'll leave the chat box open for a few minutes. If you're digital, or are you using film? No audio? No, it's got to be on your end. Everybody hearing me? Just type in if you're still hearing me. The webinar is still running, so everything should be live. If you're still hearing me, can you just type in yes or no or whatever? Yes, okay. Yeah, I was just saying that if you're Nike, do you use digital x-ray? Digital. Do you have more than one sensor? Do you have a replacement or a backup? Same thing goes for, I think it was Andrew. Do you have a backup or a replacement sensor? Do you have one sensor or multiple sensors? Andrew, you're good. How about Nike? You have more than what you need. Do you have one sensor? Do you have a backup? Really, out of curiosity, more than anything else, I just like to know what people are doing out there, so I have some idea how to handle these things myself. You have more than one? Terrific. All right. So if anybody's interested, or if you know of anybody who's looking to get involved with digital x-ray, no backup. Well, you have more than one sensor? Andrew? How many sensors do you have? Well, just once again, whether you buy from us or not, I will tell you, you work with Kodak program. Yeah, well, we can work with that. Our sensor will work with almost every imaging program out there. We also have a software program that we sell that called Apteryx, which is a great product. So if you're not happy with your Kodak, and I know Kodak's been around, but they're not a major player. So if you're not happy with your Kodak system, there is something called Apteryx, which we sell, or you can just buy yourself, that works with our sensor. That is really an absolutely wonderful program. It has every bell and whistle you can think of. The imaging is great. You have tremendous control of what the images look like. So if for any reason anybody is interested, you have one number one and one number two. All right, so you're protected to a degree, Andrew, but once again, if something happens to that number two, number one doesn't really fill its place, and the opposite is even more true. That if you lose your number one, that's a problem as well if you treat kids. Nike, what does it mean by decision? I see you wrote decision. And by the way, I'll stay on as long as you guys want. I'm at home. So if I can help you in any way, as far as any other, our company sells a bunch of technologies, but and you can check out our website and see what we do sell and what we're involved with. And most of it we sell. Our motto is that we want to provide products, the technology you need at prices you can afford. So all of the technologies we sell, the products I choose, and that's my job as the technology officer, is to find products that are equal in quality to anything else you can find, where we can sell it at a very good price point and save dentists money. That's really what our job is. We don't look to go ahead and sell the $13,000 product because you don't need it. And we don't look to sell the $6,000 intraoral camera because you don't need it. So everything we sell is what you need in your practice. But Nike, you wrote down decision with a question mark. Are you deciding to do something else? Yeah, it'll work. It should work. Yeah, it'll work with every software out there. Are you happy with Kodak, Andrew? Because we have a user right now who's with Kodak, but she's looking to switch out of it because she's not getting the image quality she wants. So I'm just curious as to if you find that you're happy with your Kodak system. And Nike, what kind of decision are you making? It works fine, good. So if it works fine, and if you need a backup sensor, we're here to help. I'm glad it's working fine. So, once again, don't buy what you don't need. But if you do need a backup for your number two or number one, these are great price points. So it's just a thought. And as far as Nike, I don't know what decision you're making. If I can help you with that decision, I'd be happy to do it. So I don't know what that means. You wrote decision. But if you're making a decision as to what to do, and you just want to chat, by the way, if you call our office and have them put you in touch with me, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, whether you buy from us or not. That's not the question. I'm always happy to chat and to find out what works and what doesn't work and what people need. And that's basically my job with the company, is to make sure that I provide, them with the information. As a dentist who practices every day, what can I do to help them make decisions for the company that benefits dentists? I'm in the chair. Cost for number two is, I think it's $44.95. It was $64.95. Yes, it'll work with DEXIS and Dentrix. It works with the new Dentrix, whatever the latest version is. I forget what it's called. And it does work with DEXIS. And the cost, as I said, I believe it's $44.95 for the number two. And if you look at the competition, they're up at around $7,000, $8,000. If you look at DEXIS is closer to $8,000, $9,000. Schick is up in that area. And on our website, if you go to the website, if you click on that offer, which I can probably put up again, the offer is probably still up there. So if you look at the offer and you click on that, it'll take you to our website, actually to a page, and it'll give you more information about the sensors and it'll show you the current pricing. But right now we are discounting it, and I know the number one I think was $49.95, is now $39.95, and the number two was $64.95. Now it's $44.95. That includes installation, includes a Twain driver if you need it, includes whatever training you need. And if you need me, you got me. I'm happy to get on the phone with you and walk you through anything you need. And you do get a 7-day money-back guarantee. So if you buy the sensor and it doesn't work with whatever you have, or you're not happy with it, we're more than happy to give you to refund your money. Yes, $44.95 for the number 2. And once again, what I would suggest, just click on the offer, go over to the website, take a look at it. And or if you want, you're interested, you can give the office a call, and they'll be happy to give you whatever information you want and give you more, as well as, talk about the 7-day money-back guarantee. So I don't want anybody to feel they're being pressured into doing anything, because you have a week just once. That's after the installation, by the way. So if the sensor goes in, we install it, and you have a week to use it. And if you're not happy with it, just don't break it, send it back, and we'll refund your money. That's not a problem at all. Any more questions? Any other thoughts from anybody? Okay, well, I thank you for participating, for spending some time with me tonight. We'll be in touch, and if there's anything I can do to help you guys and ladies on the call, please let me know. And we'll talk soon. Have a great night, and be well. Go out there and beat them up.